Welcome, everyone. If you'd all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we'll get started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome. Tonight, we are pleased to recognize our newest National Board Certified Teachers and National Board Certified Nurses. So first, I'd like to introduce Dr. Amy Gerken-Coates, our Talent Development Coordinator, who will introduce our 6 National Board Certified Teachers.
Thank you, Dr. Todd, or Mr. Todd. Good evening, Dr. Marty, President Todd, Vice President Harper, Ms. Stover, and members of the board. National Board Certificate Award winners, would you please join me in the front row here? Each year, I have the opportunity to come to you to honor the Parkway educators that have earned the distinction of becoming Nationally Board Certified Teachers. This year, it is with pride that I am able to honor 6 outstanding educators that earned this distinction. As you know, National Board Certification is an advanced teaching credential. It complements but does not replace a teacher's state license. National Board Certification is achieved upon successful completion of a voluntary assessment program designed to recognize effective and accomplished teachers who meet high standards based on what teachers know and are able to do. Certification consists of 4 components: content knowledge, differentiation in instruction, teaching practices and learning environment, and being an effective and reflective practitioner. Throughout the process, educators apply what they're learning to their practice and connect with other teachers pursuing their certification. As a district, we support educators throughout their journey with a scholarship and partner each candidate with a current Parkway National Board Certified educator to serve as mentor. National Board spent 2014 through 2018 revising the process, and this group represents the 4th class to graduate with the new, even more rigorous requirements. I'm also proud to report that we have an additional 40 educators at different places in their journey, collecting data, videotaping lessons, measuring impact, and adjusting instruction to be able to join the ranks of 66 previous teachers that have successfully walked this path. To put this in perspective, only 1,165 teachers have achieved National Board Certification in Missouri, and just 31 earned their certificate in 2022. Tonight, we celebrate our newest members of this very elite group. Please join me in congratulating the following educators. Blair Hopkins, World Language, Early Adolescence through Young Adulthood. Emily Meyer, Literacy, Reading Language Arts, and Early and Middle Childhood. Taylor Pelzak, Generalist, Early Childhood. Erica Rochester, Literacy, Reading Language Arts, Early and Middle Childhood. Congratulations. Amy Thornhill, Social Studies, History, Adolescence, and Young Adulthood. And just because Dr. Marty always asks, we are second in the state in the number of nationally board certified teachers, just slightly behind Rockwood. So we're hoping with this 40 teachers that are in the works, we'll be closing that gap. Thank you so much, and congratulations to our nationally board certified teachers.
Again, congratulations to all of those teachers. You guys are doing some amazing work to get even farther ahead in your career, so we appreciate all that you're doing for our kids. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Greg Madison, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, who will introduce our new board certified nurses.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Todd, Vice President Hopper, Board of Education, Ms. Stover. I am here tonight to discuss to celebrate our National Board Certified Nurses. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to recognize 2 Parkway nurses who have most recently achieved the national certification for school nursing. This accomplishment signifies a mark in excellence for school nursing. Parkway currently has 19 nationally certified nurses. I pause on that number because that is a very large number. Now, Dr. Marty, I'll have to look, but I do think that's probably #1 in the state. All right. It did a year ago, but that is quite the accomplishment, and we have excellent nurses in our school district. I'm proud to acknowledge Amy DeClue and Dana Lindeman as two of them. I'm going to speak about each one. Amy DeClue has served as a school nurse at Hannah Woods since August of 2021. Amy is a strong advocate for health and wellness. She enjoys providing education to students, families, and staff. Amy's an active member of our building crisis team. She's recently taken the initiative to become a certified CPR instructor and shares her expertise and knowledge with building and district staff. Amy works to remove barriers to health and ensure that she meets the needs of everyone in her building. Her knowledge and her skill in nursing ensure that the Hannah Woods Elementary community is safe, healthy, and ready to learn. Unfortunately, tonight, Amy was not able to attend tonight's ceremony, but I wanted to be able to talk about the accomplishments for her and recognize this great achievement. With us tonight is our next recipient, and that's Dana Lindeman. Dana is currently the nurse at North High School. She supports a large school that provides excellent care to students and staff members on a daily basis. Dana's calm demeanor and quick thinking have proven to be effective under pressure. She strives to offer a safe and caring place for North students and staff. Not only does she provide excellent physical care, but she also recognizes the importance of emotional and mental health. Dana created a calming center for students who need a private space to decompress and reset during their day. This type of creative care is what makes Dana stand out as a leader in her field. Please join me in congratulating Dana Lindeman on this well-deserved accomplishment.
If I could just also say, to add to Jeff's, in the world we live in today, we talk about lifelong learners, and we really have some great examples tonight. And I just will say that I really appreciate the work Diane Brown and then Craig's support. But Amy, I think you're doing such a great job of really promoting with 40 people in the hopper. That's just wonderful news. So again, thank you very much. Congratulations, everyone.
Those folks get out the door. Next up on our agenda is 7.0 additions, corrections, and/or modifications to the agenda. Those include 7.01, addendum to agenda item 11.07, approval of personnel items. Next up, we have public comments. It's during this time that we provide an opportunity for citizen comments in an effort to maintain an open and respectful dialogue with our community. The public comment session is not the appropriate forum for addressing individually identifiable student and/or personnel matters. Therefore, due to privacy laws protecting students and employees, comments about these matters should not include personally identifiable information about particular students or employees. Members of the public, staff, and students are encouraged to utilize established policies and procedures for offering suggestions or addressing concerns and complaints prior to bringing the issue before the board. Please be mindful that the meetings of the board, including your statements at the podium, are broadcast and that you are responsible for any public comments you make. In lieu of a public statement, you may choose to submit your comments to the board in writing. Also, due to the time constraints and the need to complete the primary responsibilities of our meeting agenda, we cannot respond during the meeting, so you will receive a response from us in writing. We are always available to have an open dialogue outside of our meetings and can be reached by email or phone using our contact information on the Parkway website. Tonight we have two speakers. I will call on you in the order that you signed up. You'll have 3 minutes at the podium here. If you would please introduce yourself and let us know your affiliation or association with Parkway. And we will start with Erin Valeroy.
Good evening. My name's Erin Valeroy. Not only am I a resident of the Parkway School District, I am a 5th grade teacher at Henry Elementary. This is my 11th year in education. I am very proud to be a teacher. I feel really lucky to work at a school like Henry with a strong staff and supportive community. But tonight, I'm asking the board for additional support. I have a classroom of 25 amazing, hardworking, funny, and caring fifth grade students. They're seriously the greatest. The concern I want to bring to your attention today is that of class size. I have brought this up to my past and present administrators. I have brought this up to NEA, and I had my school representatives bring this up at the most recent Key Communicators meeting. It is really something I feel Parkway needs to reevaluate and change if we are to remain a top district in the area for both students and teachers. Per the board policy, the target class size for a fifth grade classroom is 22 students. However, do you remember what I stated earlier? I currently have 25 students. Some other sections of fifth grade at my school have 26 students. Last year, we were all at 26 or 27 students. There were even 2 years in which I had 28 students. I have only been at the target class size of 22 once in my 9 years in the Parkway School District. Parkway has extremely high expectations of not only their students, but their teachers as well. I appreciate this. However, with these large class sizes, it's very hard for us to meet the needs of all of our students, as our district mission statement says. My 25 amazing and kind fifth grade students range in academic ability from 3rd grade through 12th grade. I plan 5 subjects a week with collaboration of my team. I plan individual accommodations. I work to extend the learning of my students who are above grade level. I create strategy groups and individual plans for students to fill in the gaps in their learning. But please remember, I do a lot more than just academic planning and grading. All teachers tirelessly work to teach our students the core values through character education. I connect with parents and write lengthy report cards twice a year. We create and administer formative assessments that influence our instruction. We create a classroom community in which all our students feel welcome and free to be themselves. I am a teacher, a counselor, mediator, nurse, sounding board cheerleader, and more and more and more and more and more. Our plates are full and we cannot pour from an empty cup. With 25 students, it is very hard for me to manage academics, behaviors, and social emotional learning consistently. It breaks my heart that I often do not have the time, mental capacity, or energy to do what is truly best for my students. However, I show up every day and do my best for them. I know my coworkers at Henry do their best. I know all educators in Parkway do their best as well. However, I know we can do an even more amazing job if we fall within the target class size numbers set forth by the board policy. There are countless studies that clearly show that the single biggest impact on a student's education is a teacher. So as a top district in the state, let's value our teachers' expertise and knowledge by setting us up for success. Please help us make the biggest and best impact on all of our students by decreasing class sizes starting next school year. I'm asking the board to enforce and stick with the target numbers listed in your policy. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Next up is Ryan Kerr.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Kerr. I'm running for the Board of Education this year. Tonight, I'd like to take a few minutes to explain why I'm running for the Parkway Board of Education. Over the past 3 years, healthcare providers like me have endured some of the most toxic environments known to man in a civilized country. That, however, is learned abuse trait of nurses, akin to Stockholm Syndrome. In the past 2 years, my wife and I have had the pleasure of navigating the start of elementary school with our 2 oldest children. I don't come to an education platform from nowhere. My mother was a teacher my whole life growing up. My grandmother was a lifelong teacher. My grandfather was a principal. My mother-in-law was a 35-plus year educator for Parkway and retired from the special school district 6 years ago. Deeply embedded in this community. I want the best for our kids, but I also want that to go the best way possible. Maybe it's the nurse in me that feels like it's a defeatist attitude to not be listened to not be responded to. And it created a huge hole in my soul for single parents, parents working 2 jobs, guardians, and every child that doesn't know better than to listen to possibly the only responsible adult figures in their lives, their teachers. Teachers are equitable to law enforcement as well as nursing, and that 99% of us are here for the right reasons and hold ourselves to a very high moral and ethical standard. That standard of ethics only takes one nurse, officer, or teacher to violate the sacred trust of a parent, patient, or citizen. In all 3 of these areas, you don't correct societal engineering by dismantling or defunding the system, but instead you use concrete, raw data to understand the root cause of the problem and hold those people accountable to maintain the trust between parent, taxpayer, administration, and teachers. On filing day, a person came up to me and asked me why I decided to run, and I obliged this person. The person then went on to tell me about how proud they were of a pilot program going on in my child's school, and how they toured it this past year. While this is great, and I sincerely, it was great to hear that, however, we have to understand our audience, right? This person didn't understand that them telling me this infuriated me, because they were telling me that they were more important in my child's life than I was at that time when I was not allowed in my child's school. This pilot program, it's also combined 2 classrooms in the first grade into one room with 2 teachers and over 40 children in the same classroom. I was skeptical of this. Mr. Wills talked to me for a long time about it, and I was okay with it. However, I wasn't okay with them taking the wall down this past summer during the respiratory pandemic. The 2 teachers are fantastic educators and humans, but doing this in the middle of a respiratory pandemic caused 3/4 of the children and their parents to be in and out of work and school for over 2.5 weeks because of it. These are the short-sighted decisions that can't happen. I'm running for the Board of Education because my children will be in this district that we intentionally bought a house in for the next 16 years and have the right to an equitable, obtainable, and non-biased primary education.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the approval of tonight's agenda. So may I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda for the regular meeting of the Board of Education as scheduled for January 18th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. The next regular board meeting will take place on Wednesday, February 15th, 2023, beginning at 7 p.m. right here at the Parkway Welcome Center. 10.02, board candidate filing. 7 candidates have filed for the 3 open positions in the Parkway Board of Education. The candidates in order of filing and as their names will appear on the ballot are Jeff Todd, Ryan Kerr, Kathy Guerrera, Deborah A. Debbie Hopper, Mark Ivancic, Tiffany Matt Franklin, Matt Allen. The election is Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. The terms of Deborah Hopper, Tiffany Matt Franklin, and Jeff Todd expire in April 2023. Next up, we have 10.03, Board and Superintendent reports.
I'll just touch on one thing, for good or for bad. The politicians are back in Jefferson City right now. And just to be aware that, again, this year there are going to be a lot of education bills out there. Some of those bills, I think, in my opinion, I'll say, are a solution looking for a problem, and a lot of grandstanding. And in just a way that Jefferson City and the decisions they make and the laws that they pass do impact us. It is taking some of those laws that we've had come through do cause distractions for our administration, for our teachers, and take away education time for our students. And one of the things that came up recently on one of the Parkway parent pages was the fact that, why are we having finals after winter break? That is because Jefferson City has limited in what we can do locally with starting our school year. We would love to have the fall semester in before winter break. We cannot do that right now. So it's very important to look at the bills that are coming forward, which ones are moving, and do talk to your local rep and your local senator, because there are things that can impact your students here in Parkway.
First off, welcome everybody back from break. I know Parkway's doing a great job when I have 2 kids who are excited to go back to school after a long break. So everyone should feel great about that. To comment a little bit more about what Matt was saying, we did have a TLA subcommittee meeting where one of these new legislations that did go through is affecting Parkway in our reading curriculum. We're having to do some modifications to our curriculum with regards to analyzation and things like that we'll know more later. Right after our last board meeting, I did attend the Celebration of Nations, which was an outstanding way to meet some of our adult learners in the adult at Fern Ridge. I got to eat some great food, learn about some great culture, and met a lot of these adult learners. It was a great opportunity. If you ever get a chance to do it in the future, I highly recommend it. I shouldn't have had lunch beforehand. I came out very full. It was a great time, so I highly recommend it.
Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed your break. I did. My kids were not that happy to come back. They could have had an extra week if they had their way, and quite honestly, I could have too. And for my family, we're actually getting 2 of our kids ready for the middle school and high school transition. So I know many of you guys might be doing that as well. It's a wonderful time to see our kids grow up and transition to that next stage of life. So I'm looking forward to that. This month, I've attended the Student Services Subcommittee meeting, where we started hearing reports from our district council, on the district counselor targeted review that we'll hear more about next month, and also the social work targeted review. Good conversation. I'm really looking forward to hearing the final results as they're getting more input from families and staff that are more directly impacted. I also attended the Central Area Art Show last week. That was an amazing art show. It started with our elementary students in the Central area. It's amazing how talented we have. We have so many talented kids in this district, and I'm looking at some of these things that they've drawn or created, and I'm like, this could be sold. Like, seriously, these are some talented kids, and I'm really grateful that Parkway has continued to keep arts in our school district. There are so many schools that do not have those kinds of resources. When they're looking at those tough budget issues, arts are the first things that go, and I'm thankful that we have a district where arts are still important to our families, our communities, and our administrators.
Prior to tonight's meeting, we had the, what do we call it, the PN? Communications lab with the nurses union. And, growing up, I thought of school nurses as just, the person you had to convince you were sick if you wanted to go home. But as it turns out, they have a whole lot more responsibilities, and it's important, I think, to recognize, these folks, because they really have a lot to, they're tasked with a lot of things in our buildings, yes, diagnosing things, but also mental health issues and helping kids that have special needs. And so I always enjoy this every year when we get to talk to them and, learn about, part of our district that maybe flies under the radar, but probably shouldn't. Kudos to them. I also attended the TLA subcommittee meeting with my colleagues over here, so I'm going to kind of echo some of their thoughts. What was outlined to us was Parkway's necessary compliance with some new state laws. And yes, it's a lot of work, and perhaps, some might say misguided, a lot of misguided work in that, we're being tasked with a whole lot of undertakings to satisfy state requirements that does take away from time and energy that could be used helping teachers and students. But more to the point, we're school board members, and these roles are supposed to be nonpartisan, but I do think it's important to recognize that these rules and legislation coming out of Jefferson City, these are deliberate attacks on public education. And there's words that are thrown around like school choice and Parents' Bill of Rights that, you hear those words and, yeah, choice, rights, who could argue with that? But I think it's important that our community recognize, what stands behind these words. And these are this is intentional legislation to undermine public education, and I think it's important that we as a community recognize what's going on and advocate for public education. And then, of course, on a much lighter note, I want to recognize a man at the end of the table here who's celebrating a very special birthday this weekend. I'm not going to make everyone sing happy birthday to Dr. Marty, nor will I tell you how old he's going to be, but I'll say this, he could be, as of Saturday, he could be President of the United States twice. So happy birthday.
Thanks, Ed. We could figure that out.
To follow that. Last week on January the 11th, we held a Project Parkway Steering Committee, and I'm honored to be on that committee along with Mr. Todd and several administrators, including Dr. Marty here. And so with that, I would just like to report that on February 1st, to join us at the State of the District Address, where we will be kicking off Project Parkway 3.0, and involving the community with moving forward with a lot of our initiatives that are going to be very important as part of Project Parkway 3.0. And that State of the District address and kickoff for Project Parkway will be at Central High School, February 1st from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. So we strongly encourage all of our community to come out and listen to that. It will be very important. We've got a lot of work ahead of us over the next year to complete our comprehensive school improvement plan, the MSIP, the Missouri School Improvement Plan, as well as our 5-year strategic plan. So those of us who have been involved in Project Parkway for many, many years realize, and I'm hoping that we get a lot of people involved, because it's very important to get community voice, parent voice, and our staff voice as well involved in that strategic plan. So we're looking very forward to that and hope to have a nice outcome on February 1st.
Thank you. And I will echo a bunch of sentiments that have already been shared, but I'll also mention that Rob Reedy and I, Rob couldn't be here tonight, but we joined Tiffany on the Student Services Subcommittee meeting, and the one thing that I came away from that was just the intentional thought that went into the questions that have been designed as part of that review, the questions that will be asked of all the people that we've identified as stakeholders, and it just shows that we're really putting a lot of thought and care into doing that review. So, like Tiffany said, I'm eager to find out, hear the results of that. And then everything else I had on my list has been mentioned, so thank you all. Except I will say that about 2 weeks ago, at my office, I was visited by students from a different school district, because I don't work in Parkway. And it was a great experience to kind of be on the other side of things, not visiting a school and seeing students, but having students come visit where I work. And it was just a great experience. And I know Parkway does that. They do some field trips to different places, and it's just cool to see from the other side. So.
Yeah, a lot of my topics have been already mentioned. I will just say that the board is going to approve tonight in the consent agenda the legislative priorities of which you heard last month from Annie Dickerson. And we'll continue. Annie, on a day or weekly basis, is part of a Monday morning update on what's happening legislatively. And so we'll keep the board and the community apprised of what's happening in Jefferson City. There, as Matt or somebody said, there's a lot of bills have been introduced. Many of them, some moving forward, others may not move as fast. We'll keep an eye on them. Debbie, thanks for your comment about February 1st. I will just say our SAP members, primarily Kevin and Tiffany, are really leading that work, getting ready for the February 1st State of the District. So really proud of the promotion of that, Debbie, thanks. Tiffany mentioned the Central Art Show. Today I went to the West Art Show, which is tomorrow night. It's a public show, but it's on display. And the West Art area was reconstructed, so it's a beautiful area, perfect for an art show, kind of like the Central area. And I hope they have as good a turnout tomorrow night. Wasn't it great to see all that? I mean, it was like a constant flow of parents and grandparents, and it was just wonderful. So hopefully West will have that. And again, at West, just like Central, wonderful display of work all the way from our elementary schools, middle and high school. Also want to mention that in March, the board will be recognizing our Teachers of the Year who were announced in our schools. And then we also have pillar nominations and Light of Parkway nominations occurring. And those are special, really honored nominations and eventually selections of people who represent work that is being done in the community and the schools. The pillars is the highest award, I think we could say, of honor, as well as a Light of Parkway for our support staff. So that is out there. And then finally, I agree, wonderful presentation by the nurses. I think they probably have all left, but they did a wonderful job tonight in really supplying us, I think, with information, data about the work that they're doing to not send kids home, but to really keep kids in school and keep them well, and certainly be attentive to their every need that is now pretty vital in terms of what their work that they do. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Kevin, for the, I think everybody can figure that math out, by the way.
Next, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented in the January 18th, 2023 board materials?
So moved.
Second.
Anything to be pulled to action or closed? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We have we have a lot of other stuff going on, but we have no other policy review, no action items, no official reports, no work session, and no special meeting. So at this time, we do have a closed session to return to. So at this time, may I have a motion and a second to adjourn the regular meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you all for attending and/or watching.